So we got a couple records up there, and I got a couple honorable mentions too. But Antoine, we got Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. Would that ever be broken? We got Wilt Chamberlain's 50 and basically 50 and a half points per game in the 61 to 62 season. We got AC Green's 1,192 consecutive games played. Bill Russell's 11 rings, which is crazy. We got Scott Skiles' 30 assists in one game. And I got a couple of honorable mentions. We got LeBron James' all-time scoring title, which, of course, is still active, and he's still adding to that. And then we got 65 straight games with 30-plus points from Wilt Chamberlain. Y'all got some records? Y'all think there's some records up here, or you guys know of any other records that will just
First
never
two,
be broken?
definitely not.
Yeah.
First
No.
two, definitely not.
I don't think
None of
so.
those records will be broken.
None of them. He said none of them. All five of these, right? You don't see any of them getting broken?
No, none of them will not get broken.
Not even
It's
AC?
You
one-
think
I
so?
think-
I could see the consecutive.
Not one.
I could see possibly the 30 assists in one game. You don't think 30 assists in one game potentially?
Guy starts with 20
We've
assists.
seen 20 assist games. We see those all the time.
But that's what I'm saying. You get that in the
Well,
first half.
No, I wouldn't say all the time. Let me not say all the
But,
time. That was a
yeah.
little wild. But like we see those, happen a couple times per year.
Correct.
If
I
you just
definitely
want me
think
to
first
pick
two.
something, yeah. I mean,
He
30
said he
assists
want
is
me to
probably,
pick something.
if you just want me to be on the assist could possibly be done.
Okay.
But everything else is not happening.
He said it's not happening. You think that'll be?
It's
You think
not
somebody will
happening.
come?
Not in our lifetime.
Yeah. What you think though, Ashley?
In my is it question in my lifetime or
No, I
just
say
in general?
ever.
I'm gonna say 11 rings.
11. You think somebody get 11?
No, I said the most unbreakable.
Oh, well, okay.
Says
no,
which
no,
of
no,
these
but-
do you think
but
is the most unbreakable?
Unbreakable? Oh, okay.
I
mean,
think
yeah.
Bill Russell's 11 rings is the most unbreakable.
That's the most unbreakable? Okay.
By the way,
You got to think about it. You got to think about it in terms of like the fine print, right? Because Bill Russell played in a different era. There weren't nearly as many teams. Some will argue the athletes weren't nearly as athletic, skilled. They're only getting more skilled, more athletic. They may be adding another team to the NBA in Vegas. Right. They may be adding one in Seattle, bringing that one back. So that would be two more teams. I think it's hard enough to two-peat. It's almost virtually impossible to three-peat. Right. Is why we haven't really seen it since. I mean, we've seen it, but we've seen it so sporadically. I think 11 rings is going to be very hard to break with the way that the NBA is continuing to unfold. I wouldn't be a 100-point game to me doesn't seem that unbreakable. Really? Like in not the near future, but in the future of the sport. I mean, think about the way that the three ball has become such a huge part of the game, and think about the accuracy and the velocity and just the talent that's being able to do that on a night in, night out basis. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had a 71-point game.
And I was just getting ready to search that up because I wanted to ask too, was that done in regulation or was there overtime?
Good question.
Ain't nobody scoring 100 points.
Was it
Because think about it, if a game goes into double overtime and a guy is just going off, it could possibly happen.
Maybe it was overtime. I think it might have been overtime.
Let me see.
Or maybe it was a regular. I don't know, but think about it. That was 71.
You got to make 23.
It was an overtime win.
Okay, so let's say double overtime. You don't think that's virtually possible?
You got to make 23. You got to get a guy who can make. You got to make 23s possibly, and you probably got to get to the free throw line 20 to 25 times.
Yeah. Antoine, Kobe dropped 81. I mean, we've gotten pretty close.
But let me
add this in. I wonder if that game was overtime.
I'm not saying without a shadow of a doubt it's going to happen, but I'm just saying we have seen a record number of high-scoring 50-plus point games than ever before. Correct. I mean, when Kobe dropped 81, that was like unheard of.
Didn't Devin do 70 this season?
70, 71, 65. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to 100. I'm not saying it's impossible. That's all I'm saying.
Who in the league? Just be honest. If we was thinking about 2-3 guys that you think that can get 100.
Damian Lillard.
I'm not saying right. It may not happen in my lifetime, but the question is which record will never be broken. I don't know if I can say 100 points will never be broken at the rate that we're seeing these high scoring games. And it's not even the amount. It's the rate. I mean, there was 1 week we saw them every other night. That at 60+ points.
Yeah.
It's people are doing it with no problem. And not only that, but the NBA is not nearly as defensively difficult as it was in the 90s and the 80s. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to be more offensive led.
I just
You
think
think it's not the perfect formula for 100 points?
It is, but you got to have somebody that can shoot threes. It's got to be. You got to make like 23.
I feel like KD could do it.
KD.
Hey,
That's
we
what
got to
I'm
give some
saying.
credit
KD,
though.
Lillard.
I feel like KD could do 100 points in a game.
Yeah.
I feel like that too. Yeah. I feel like we got to give. Go ahead.
That's not impossible. No, I'm thinking about it. She got me thinking.
I'm just saying, like in a perfect storm situation, if KD was in the zone, could he hit 100 points in a game?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Devin Booker hit 70 in regulation. You think if KD gets in a mode like that, he can't go even further? I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm not predicting anything.
But let's show some love to that AC Green one too, though, because I did the research. 82 games per season, divided by, I forget the number, it was like 1,100.
1,192.
14 and a half seasons.
So he didn't miss a game.
No load management.
He didn't miss a game for 14 seasons?
For
That's
14
crazy.
and a half seasons.
Yeah,
that will never be broken.
That was definitely not
I can see someone getting more rings and 100 points games before they could go 14 years.
These boys got a toenail. They toenail hurt. They sitting out.
Correct.
Yeah, you're right. That actually might be the most
wild-
unbreakable record, actually.
14 and a half years? Not missing one game?
Yeah, nobody has that in them. yeah, that's a lot.
I
That's a
mean,
long
yeah,
time.
that might be up there too.
That might be
up there with the 11 rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be one, and 11 rings maybe two.
Two.
Yeah.
I
Ain't
know.
nobody
we can't
built like
overlook
that no
one.
more.
I got a headache.
Yeah, for real. Y'all think anybody ever?
I can't play today. My head hurts.
Oh, no.
The wind.
Y'all think
I got
anybody,
something in my eye.
Y'all crazy.
Wah.
Y'all think LeBron James, all-time scoring record would be solidified, cemented? You think anybody ever give him a run for his money?
Yeah, in
I
the
think
60s.
It'll be broken, and I won't be alive to see it.
It'll be in the 60s or 70s.
What you mean?
The 2060s or 70s.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
when it's
right.
going to be
29
broken.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
You got another 34
but
years for that
it
one.
definitely would be broken. If the rules stay the way they are right now, and if it stays fan friendly, where they want to see 115, 120 points scored a night, and the league keeps the rules the way they are, yeah, somebody's definitely breaking LeBron's record.
I think I could see 65 straight 30-plus games happening, too.
Yeah.
That was a Wilt stat. Wilt got a whole bunch of records, but I think somebody can break that one. Yeah.
65 straight 30-point games?
Yeah.
Didn't you give us
That's a lot.
James the other day?
James had 32. James had 32 straight 30-point games.
See?
I mean,
Yeah,
that was in the
very
modern
possible.
era. That was in 2018, so I think it happened. Yeah, shout out to Control the Narrative for this conversation, though.